Hey guys, welcome to Sequential Consequence. My name is Nelson. Today I'm bringing you an unplanned video review of Utsubora, the story of a novelist, by Asumiko Nakamura. Now, I was not planning on reviewing this book right now. I literally just finished it like 10 minutes ago, and I've just been kind of processing it. And I usually only do reviews in this channel when I'm really kind of feeling it, when I'm kind of just feeling like talking about the book. Sometimes I'll try to plan them and it'll just never really work out because I need the passion to be there. I need the enthusiasm to be there. And right now it's there because I just finished this beautiful book and it was just incredible. I really enjoyed it. It was just so good. And I see this pretty much everywhere. I used to see this on pretty much every bookstore, and I just don't really see it in people's collections, and I just don't really see people talking about it, and I'm not really sure why, because this is a masterpiece. Even if you don't think it's a masterpiece, I think you can go into this and enjoy it just for the really good work that it is. Now, what is this story about? Let me just throwing the book. Let me throw the book. Yeah, that's what I'm going to do. Let me read you the back. Complete in one volume. Utsubora intimates the story of a novelist who succumbs to the siren call of plagiarism when a mysterious beauty straight from his own pages accosts him unbidden. Suspenseful, intelligent, and sensual, treasured authoress Asumiko Nakamura's masterpiece to date and first work to become available in English is a rare treat and delectable vindication for mature appreciators of the Japanese graphic novel. Now, first of all, that is a very well written synopsis right there. And this is a very well translated work in general. I was actually really surprised. The translation is done by Yoshito Hinton, and it was just really well done. Like there were a lot of words that I just had to look up that I had never heard, and I was like, whoa, what the hell is that word? And because the translation was just that good, there was just that much attention to the accuracy of the translation, and keeping things as accurate to the author's vision as they possibly could. And there are also some really nice translator notes at the end that detail some of those things too, and kind of focus on kind of a cultural commentary on the work. But what is so special about this story? Okay, so it's about an author who plagiarizes a work, right? Now, what makes it so interesting is that when the story starts, it actually starts with a suicide, the presumed suicide of the person whom he plagiarized, and the details as to who that person is are kind of unclear in the beginning of the manga, and giving anything away would be a huge disservice to the book. So I'm gonna try to kind of explain around it to kind of try to explain the appeal of the story and why I'm just so enthusiastic about it. Because when the story starts, it starts with a suicide. And now the first thing you might notice is the art looks kind of very BL style. Like the men are like super pretty. The women are also super pretty, as you might have noticed already. You got that like whimsical kind of look, and that is a very deliberate choice on the author's part to make her look like someone straight out of a novel. That is very intentional. But yeah, the story starts with a suicide. The author gets called to the hospital because he's one of the only contacts on the person's name. They can't identify the person because they fell face first. And the only person that is there is the person who he at first thinks is the person who committed suicide, and she's just sitting there. Later, he is told that that's her twin sister. Yeah, I don't want to get too much into what's going on, but basically, the author is somewhat unreliable, and that he's the narrator of the story. He's somewhat unreliable, and we don't really know what to believe because he's not telling us the whole story, and we're just kind of finding out things little by little, and and the story is told in such a way that you're kind of provided with these red herrings that it almost feels a disservice to call them red herrings, because they are just kind of these very clever misdirections of where the story might go, or what the answer to this mystery might be. So, you might be thinking like, oh, this girl is her twin sister, but we can't identify the girl who killed herself. So did this person presumably kill that person and take her identity? Is she really her twin sister? Is there maybe some dissociative identity disorder going on here? Really, what is going on here? Why is this person acting like this? Because the presumed twin sister ends up like providing him with the plagiarized copies of the story, and I don't want to give too much away, but there's just a lot of mystery. So I think I could recommend this to a lot of different a lot of different manga fans. I could recommend this to people who, for example, like Inio Asano's Downfall, or what's another example? Actually, that's probably the best example, because that manga also plays with a lot of the same things this does. But honestly, I think this does it better. I mean, I know y'all know that I love Asano to death, and he's my favorite mangaka. And Downfall, I thought, was pretty much a perfect book. It was like almost perfect. It was like almost just quite. It was not quite perfect, but it was almost there. It was really almost there. It just kind of lacked a cohesive vision, I feel like, and that's what this has. But they're trying to go for completely different things. Now, this book in itself is not a plagiarism, but is very, very inspired by authors like Murakami, and even a little bit of Osamu Dazai as No Longer Human. There are some things here that I feel like were direct references to it. Maybe not, but since it's just such a popular Japanese novel, I definitely think that they were definitely inspired. So the novel in itself is also providing some sort of meta commentary on that kind of thing, and it provides meta commentary on plagiarism in general. Things like, for example, I don't remember how they put it, and I don't really want to spoil anything, but it plays with the way that we see things, that we see ourselves and see others. It even extends metaphors about how we see things with one dominant eye. So, for example, most of the things that we see, our camera is literally our one eye, our dominant eye. But we need both to really get the full picture. Otherwise, we don't really see everything. And it also plays with the way that we see other people. For example, when we see other people, because we are seeing them through our own eyes, and basically that image is going through a reinterpretation so that our brains can comprehend what we're seeing. And not just that, but we're also it's also acting on our own biases and the way that we see that person. So whenever we look at a person, even if it's someone we know, someone we don't know, it doesn't matter. We process them through our own lens. So it extends this idea of is my vision of you adulterated? Is my vision of you pure? Am I looking at you like at the pure whole you? Or it doesn't have to be a person, it could even be a work, So it's basically saying that works are kind of a combination of both the author and the reader. And you as the reader, you are also putting in something into the story by interpreting it yourself, and by having this kind of dance and conversation with the author and the writing, and in this case the art. So the book tries to extend some types of metaphors around those motifs. Now. Oh man, I don't really know what else to really say about the book, but all these characters are super fleshed out. They're all foils of each other. Almost every single character in this book is meant to be a foil to another character, and pretty much every single one of them is very important to the story. There are maybe like 5 major characters. There really aren't that many, but they're all pretty important, and most of them have a lot of depth to them and have their own arcs. And the main mystery really is the main character, the main girl, uh, and the mystery surrounding her and her identity and her reasons for doing whatever she is doing. I don't want to give it too much away, but I'll leave it at that. It's a great, great manga. This is the first manga that I've read by this author. Let me show you some art before anything, because the art looks incredible. I'm actually a really big fan. The paneling is quite good. The pacing is incredible. It just reads so smooth. Like, you could just keep flipping the pages and just keep on going. And here you can see an example of some really good paneling. I really enjoy the paneling here. And not only that, but her use of negative space to tell the story. Even here with panels where there's with pages where there's like very little detail, and so sometimes the author will be kind of minimalist about it, but then there will also be really good uses of negative space like this, which I'm just having a hard time showing you something because I don't want to spoil anything. And it's actually really hard to spoil this manga because I could show you almost anything from any of the book and it would be kind of a misdirection, as I mentioned earlier. But I just really love the mangaka's use of contrast. It's just a very nice style. And not just that, but she portrays emotions very vividly and very convincingly. Oh, here's a great example of negative space. Just a really, really good storytelling. Very good visual storytelling in general. But yeah, I'm gonna leave it at that. If I continue rambling on, this will just turn into an analysis video of me just analyzing this manga. But it is just so good, and I highly recommend it. I'm gonna track down everything that I can by this author because this is really good, and she has a lot of work. She has like an astounding amount of work under her belt, and most of them are pretty short, I think. But unfortunately, not a lot of them are localized. I actually just got one in, which let me grab it right here. Where is it? Right here. This is actually published recently by Denpa, and it's Main Railways, and it's a collection of short stories, most of which I think are like romance and stuff like that. But based on what I just read from that story, which is romance to some extent, but not completely. I'm definitely quite curious to see what's going on with this one, and also has some really nice color pages. But yeah, she also has another localized series called Classmates, which is 3 volumes long, and I'm pretty sure it's a BL manga. But yeah, I'm gonna be picking that up pretty soon. Probably my next order, I'll be picking that up. And yeah, really looking forward to just reading more of her work, and I hope more of it gets localized. Who would I recommend this to? If you're a fan of crime thrillers, yeah, you'll like this. Surprisingly, there's a lot of kind of like figuring out the mystery of what happened in the story of the suicide, and there's just a lot going on in that regard. So I would definitely recommend this to people who are a fan of crime thrillers. I would recommend this to people who are a fan of romance, even though it's okay, I would recommend this to people who are a fan of toxic romance, I guess, of like books examining toxic relationships and things like that, or just kind of like off the beat relationships. I would also recommend this to people who just like being confused while they read a story. People who like piecing things together as they put a story. People who want a book that they are gonna want to reread a lot. Yeah, this is it. But yeah, highly recommended. Utsubora, the story of a novelist. The name doesn't actually mean anything. It's not an actual word, but there's a lot of like meaning inside the name, which the translator goes into detail into at the end. It's worth looking into. But yeah, I'm rambling now, so I'm just gonna leave it at that. Hopefully you enjoyed the review and my enthusiasm about the book comes through, and more people read this because I feel like it definitely needs a lot more visibility, and more people need to be reading and talking about it. Maybe they are, I don't know. Maybe I just haven't really seen people talking about it because I hadn't read it. And generally, I'm not going to see content of things that I haven't read unless it's to see if I want to read them. But regardless, definitely check it out. This is a very cheap book. The cover price, I think, is $20, $19 actually. So you could find this probably for like $10 or less, I'm sure. Unless it's out of print, in which case I don't really know if it is or not. But definitely recommend it. Yeah. Bye-bye. And like, comment, subscribe if you want. I never really asked that, but I remember this time. So yeah, hopefully you enjoy.